morning, guys, and welcome to the 20 into 30 podcast with myself, Evelina, and my friend Luke. How are we doing today?
Morning. How's things?
Yeah, it's good, my end. I'm having a cup of green tea with mango flavor. What are you having
With
this morning?
mango flavour?
It's
Is that like an
delicious.
infused tea sort of thing?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I'm just British tea. British tea.
Oh,
Second cup. Just
second cup.
yeah. Well, livening myself up. It's pretty windy and it's gone pretty grim over here at the moment. So it's like been blowing up a bit of a storm for the last however many days. And so I thought, I'm going to take it chill. I had a bit of a brutal week last week, so I'm going to take it chill, have a cup of tea, and just take things slow this morning.
Yeah, I need one of those too. And I thought, just because today's topic is about basically it's going to be like a coffee conversation with me and Luke, but we're both drinking tea. So that's why I brought up
I
what are
can't
we
drink
drinking this
coffee.
morning.
I can't drink coffee. It blows my head off. It's not something I can have. But we are trying some new format in our videos that we do, and we are going to try one that's basically like coffee talk, and it's just about general topics that we want to bring up, rather than an advice sort of topic to a show. It's just a fun, if you want to have someone to listen to, that we're talking about random things we've seen, done, and interested in. This is sort of more of a podcast for those sort of things, rather than anything to do with our business, our health, our fitness, our savings, our goals, anything like that.
Yeah, it's going to be more one of those conversations where you like, do you say eavesdropping or eavesdropping on someone's conversation in a coffee shop?
It's a
That's
conversation that we would have, but doesn't generally have a point. But it's just fun to ponder about some of the stuff that we might talk about. And if you want to ease in on listening to that, then this might be more sort of your thing. It's just where we're working on different sort of programming topic types. Would you call it topic types, or would you say like just different formats, like different, rather than having the same sort of generic advice shows all the time, which can be a bit preachy, I feel sometimes, because obviously there's only so much advice you can give, like on topics, without just trying to make stuff up. And it gives a break in that, where we do like to have random conversations as well that are just shooting the shit, basically. And
exactly.
that's
And
what we
I think also we have days where we just don't want to have something informative. We just want to have this random conversation because we might not have the energy of picking up the best tip and advice. Sometimes we're very inspired, we're ready to go, we want to bring all the inspiration and motivation into our lives. And sometimes you just want to listen to a random talk. So this is the one of those.
Yeah, it's basically like, I do like podcasts that are about random topics, especially about space and science and stuff. And that's not because I'm smart or massively smart on the topics, but I do like listening to them, and I do like to then ponder on them afterwards. So I think that's where we're testing with today's, with our channel. We're still very new in it, and we just want to bring you some new different types of format, rather than bringing you the same thing week in, week out.
Yes, changing it up, guys. We're changing it up.
This is it. How's your week been anyway, before we get going?
It's been good. I'm being very tired this week, and it didn't really help the fact that I did a massive hike yesterday. So
How was that hike?
Oh dear, I feel like someone's just running over me with a truck today.
How long was it?
So tired. 6 hours.
6 hours.
So it took us 2 hours and 45 minutes to the top. And then we stayed there for a bit, and it took a little bit longer to go down because it's not the most solid surface to walk on.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite slippery. It's like quite rocky.
Mm-hmm.
So
do you know how much it was in distance?
Too hard. The distance? Well, according to my watch, I took 26,000 steps.
Mm-hmm.
But if you Google it, it says somewhere between 10 and 14K. But yeah, I don't know. But it's 1,200 meters above sea level.
Okay.
So it's quite high up, and it's the highest mountain in the area of Marbella.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm burned, I'm tired, and I'm exhausted today, but it was so worth it.
How many of you went?
We were 7 girls.
7 girls. And is that sort of like a local thing that people go up that mountain then?
Yeah, it's a big tourist attraction down here. And now is the perfect time for it. Because
is it busy now?
Yeah. it is slightly busy still because it's the end of the summer, and you can't do it in the summer because it's really hot. Like the sun is baking the whole time. You have shade the first 30 minutes, but except that, it's just sun.
What's the place
like
called?
baking sun. Marbella. And
No,
the hike itself is called La Concha.
Concha. Okay.
And La Concha means the seashell.
The seashell.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. So you had a good day though.
Yeah, it was really good, but I definitely need some resting up today. That's for sure. But it was so worth it.
Chill day.
Absolutely loved it.
Well, I have had a very lazy week. I told you about my van last week.
Yeah.
So
the van story continues.
Yeah, it's still not fixed.
Really?
I took it in to be repaired, and as ever, they're helpful in it's under warranty, but they can't give me a courtesy vehicle. And like I say, if they could, I can't use it for work anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But it was off the road, so I couldn't work all last week. I was hoping to get it fixed Friday, and I was meant to be going away on holiday for the weekend. Hence why we recorded double last weekend. The van then came back as, oh yeah, the fault's much more major than we thought. We're not going to get it fixed today, and they still couldn't give me a courtesy vehicle, and I couldn't get a last minute rental that was affordable to like budget basically. So I had to cancel my holiday, and so we've been at home this weekend, and I don't think I'm getting the van back till maybe late Monday, Tuesday at the latest. I'm hoping, because obviously, I said to you before, business has been hit so much by COVID that we don't want to keep taking time off. So it was a fun week of just cleaning out my flat, because I was like, well, those cupboards that just don't get done, and that I was like, let's get these done. And I cycled to the gym and back a couple of days, because I was like, well, I need to get to a gym, so I thought I'd do that ride. So it was like a nice little ride there and back. But it's been a bit of a palaver week, my end.
Yeah, I've been noticing that, to be honest.
It's one of those things, but hey ho, it is what it is. Hopefully next week we'll get back on track and it will all be good. That's my plan.
Yeah, everything is a learning curve in the end, so I guess knowing you, I know you've been figuring out ways of overcome this in the future, and just learning the lesson from it.
It's one of those things. We used to be honest, have another van, but obviously I had another member of the team coming, and then they couldn't start, so then that van was sitting there, and then that ended up going. So if there was someone else of us, there would have been another van to back us up on, but obviously that hasn't worked out to be the case. But it's one of those things. You can't cover for everything. It's just, it is what it is sometimes. But today I want to talk about one of my favourite topics. Not that like I say, I'm massively clued up on it, but I like to ponder about it. I want to talk about space today.
Mm-hmm.
Are you into
guys,
space?
If you could see Luke's excitement when he just said that, it's hilarious.
I do
He's
like
a little kid in the candy shops, like, oh, space.
I do like talking about space. Do you like? Are you quite? I don't know. I don't know how much we've spoken about space before together.
You do like to bring it up, and you do have some interesting fact when you bring it up. So,
but is it a topic that generally you find that you're into, or?
It's one of those things. If someone brings it up, I'm more happy to listen. And because I love to learn, especially when it's things that I don't know anything about. But it's not one of those things that I would sit down and research myself. I'm more enjoying the conversation when someone else brings it up.
No,
so I think this would be good.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not massively clued up on knowledge, but it's just something that, because obviously nothing's really fully confirmed, and we learn so much as we're going. It's fun that you can just ponder about it and not look like a complete knob.
But do you know what? It's one of those things that, if you bring up space, have you ever been in a country, in a place where you can look up at the sky at night, and it's so clear, you can see everything from the Milky Way? It kind of overwhelms me a little bit, because it's so unknown, and it's such a big topic that I'm like, ooh, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things that when we were in Australia, we went down to, where did we go? We went to Margaret River. So we were in Perth, and then we went down to Margaret River, which is like a fair few hours out of Perth. And we camped on this campsite where, obviously in Australia, you can travel for miles and you're just not really around anyone. But Margaret River is a place that a lot of people will go to for the wineries and the ice cream places and cheese factories and stuff like that. But when we were down there, we camped on this campsite, and it wasn't really busy. There wasn't really anyone around at the time. But it was brilliant for like at night. It was just the sky was like crazy. It's like when
Unbelievable.
you looked at a TV, like when you look at like a 4K TV now, and you're like, oh my god, like, and you think, oh well, TVs always look like that, and then you put like a TV like a 4K next to an old TV, you're like, oh, actually, it doesn't. But when we looked at the sky down there, it is like mind blowing how it's like really intense when you look at it. It's like
it is so beautiful.
Yeah, it's crazy. Which kind of puts in perspective, like, you can't take yourself too seriously, can you? Because obviously, in the big scheme of things, we are very small.
Yeah, and we're here on a very short time compared to like how long the stars and all the things been here.
Tiny, like tiny. But if you're talking about space, like, would you say? Do you believe in like not UFOs and stuff? Do you believe like that out there? There's other life.
Honestly, it's going to sound really strange maybe, but I do not have an opinion in this topic.
Not too fussed on it.
No, because the thing is, the chances that there would be life out there are quite high. Like, what make us? It's kind of an old school thinking that
Evelina,
we are the
I'm going to stop you for 2 seconds, right? I love this. I haven't got an opinion on it, right? What is the likelihood that there isn't? Would you be more leaning on the side that you think there is life? Or there would be?
I don't know.
Yeah.
One way I could say, what's the chances of us being the only people here? But then on the other side, it's so big, and maybe we are the small percentage that actually became life. Because it's a very big coincidence that we actually became humans from the start. Like, what's the odds just starting there? But then what's the odds that this have not happened before somewhere else? So you see, I'm quite battling myself out.
Yeah. What would you say if you had to say yes or no? Where would you go? Would you go, you reckon there is, or you reckon if I said to you, you've got to pick a side? Obviously, with the disclaimer that it's not necessarily your full fault. Where would you go?
I don't know.
I'm pinning you down, Evelina. You're not going nowhere. You got to pick. Would you say yes? There might be, or let's not say that you'd have to say one or the other. Let's say that you'd have to say the probability is there's more likely to be life than there isn't, or there isn't to be there is.
I like how you put the question now, because now I don't have to say yes or no. I can say
the probability.
What's the highest percentage?
We're working on a
my
percentage.
Answer? Then I would probably say yes.
So I'll word the question to get an answer from you.
Luke knows that I'm not a yes or no person. Yeah. I'm like, I'm such a overthinker, and my answers is just complicated. I'll say yes.
So you'd go more on the side of yes. So if you had to, though, say we're not working on the probability that you're saying whether it's likely or not likely, would you want there to be, or would you not want there to be?
Well, it depends if they're going to be nice to us or not.
Well, this is the concern, isn't it? Because if you look at us, like, we generally are not the best. Like, there's always someone who's wanting to be in charge, like countries arguing with each other and stuff like that. That would be the concern, isn't it? If there is someone or something out there, if they manage to get to us, they're probably going to be way far superior to us in technology.
Or they might not.
But if they could get to us, though.
Oh yeah, in that sense, yeah. No, I would say it would be cool. Imagine what we could learn.
Well, yeah, let's just hope that they don't do what we do in the past and mess things up.
Or kill each other. We're quite good at killing each other anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Someone else going to come and just add to the pot.
I hope that if we get really out of control, that one day someone just comes out and be like, guys, come on, you've messed this up. Time to sort yourself out. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're getting out of hand here. Things are getting a bit messy. We've come down to pull you back in line. But
yeah, that would be one thing.
There could also be life, but let's say there's life like out in space. It could just be simple like microorganisms. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be like us. But
no, because it's a small chance that we became what we are.
But then I just don't think that if we are on a planet with so much life, like so much diversity in life, that out of all the stars and all the galaxies, solar systems, blah 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 in the world, that we are the be all and end all. This is it. I don't think that.
So you believe in?
There's gotta be. There's gotta be. There can't be.
And you hope it is.
Yeah, and I tell you why. Because look, in our lifetime, they thought that water wasn't plenty in space, but now they've realised, oh well, actually, the water is quite abundant in space, right? Now, if you've got water that's quite abundant, or water, should I say, you've got water that's quite abundant in space, but then that, as life as we know it, then becomes a high probability in other places, whether it's life like us or life as like a microorganism. It rapidly increases
like
that.
the microorganism, they can survive anything. They've been on this planet longer than we have.
Yeah, like extreme temperatures of heat and cold, and they've been proven to survive in multiple places.
Yeah, did you know the oldest one they found? So basically, the human body is made out of bacteria. So it's inside our guts, it's on our skin, it's everywhere on top of us, and we need it to survive. You basically have more bacteria than cells in your body. And the oldest one they found has been in, I think they find one in the glaciers and they find one in California. And that was millions of years old and still active.
Yeah, see. Well, because a lot of this stuff can lie dormant until it comes along the right sort of scenario, the right set of circumstances that, you know, it flourishes and it comes back to life.
Yeah, and the ones they found in the glacier, they actually track it back down to the Sahara Desert.
Yeah.
So it's been traveling a quite long way as well.
I love all that. See, because I did hear an interesting theory before, like saying if you're thinking about it, like UFOs, as it were, like a life from another planet, let's say, in space, right? Someone came up with a cool theory of coming from your point that you just made, right? That actually, say for example, we could be the UFO. So instead of thinking of it as something else, we could have been the UFO. For example, we find rock from all over our solar system on our planet, right? From where, you know, planets get hit by meteors and then they break off and then they go to other places, right? Let's say Mars years and years and years and years ago had microorganisms on that got hit by a meteor that then traveled to Earth and gave it the correct set of circumstances that then became life. And then developed, right? But on Mars, it couldn't develop. Like you were just saying with your microorganism that were found in the glaciers, that shows that it came from the Sahara. So that's that travel, which I find quite interesting as well, because really
that was very interesting. I never heard that.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, it's cool. I feel like that's pretty interesting because it's like, you know, we're always looking and thinking it could be something else when really sometimes you look in the mirror and you go, oh, damn, that could be us. Like we could have been over there, but we just didn't grow very well and develop very well there because the circumstances weren't correct. And in a basic form is looking at your personal development, right? You might not in a certain environment be that interested, and therefore your growth just isn't that good. And you move yourself to somewhere else and you flourish because it's the right set of circumstances for you to be productive. That's in a very, very basic way. So let's say like I say, we could have been on another planet and we got hit by a meteor. We then travelled here and became what we are today.
Do you know what? This might be a long track of thought, but there is a book that I read that I can't remember the name of right now, but I know the one that wrote it. She's a science, and her name is Nora something. I need to look this book up. But what I want to say, her theory when it comes to cancer, it is not that, because everyone thinks that cancer is something external coming into our body and creating this disease. But her theory is that cancer is basically the body cells going back to the original forms before we were humans.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's her theory.
Who is this?
So she thinks, her name is Nora. I think she's like one of the experts in the caveman diet. Okay. And she's been studying this kind of nutrition and the caveman diet kind of nutrition for ages. Like Yeah, and her theory is that the cell is basically getting reversed back to before we were human. So when we were literally living underneath sea level.
But would that work though? Because it's so like detrimental to us though. You know, like going back. Well, I would see like our development, our evolution, or whatever you want to believe. Like our us becoming what we are now, whatever process you want to think about that. It would be always becoming a more positive, stronger organism. Whether we use us, our what we are in a positive way is different, but saying us as a functioning product, as like say a person, like our abilities, um, I would have thought that the evolution would have made us become more what we are today, like strong, like better and more able to think and process things better. Whereas if we're going backwards, and that's like I don't know if we would have got to where we are now if there was cancers. Do you know what I mean? Like if when before we were like, do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's true. But if you think about the word disease, it's a dis-ease in the body. So something is wrong. So basically, there's something that we are doing, not by purpose, of course. It could be your diet, your way of living, your sleep. There's something that is triggering the cells of going reversed. That's her theory.
Okay.
So
I'm gonna have a look at
it
that.
could,
I'll search it.
yeah, it's very
Caveman
interesting.
diet and Nora. I'll search on Google, and I'm sure I'll
Yeah,
find
I'm gonna look it up and I'll let you guys know. We can drop the comment down below what the book is called. It's a very heavy nutrition based book. Like you need to have quite skilled English for it. I struggled at the beginning, but yeah, she has some really cool theories. But with all these things, take it with a grain of salt.
I'd probably yeah. This is the thing about when you're pondering about stuff. It doesn't have to be right. It's just interesting to like ponder on things. You know what I mean? That's why we enjoy reading books that aren't true. It's just fun to think about different people's ideas and stuff. You know. But let's. I want to ask you, like, if we're talking about space, right? We're still in. Obviously, we live on a planet, and that planet's in a solar system, galaxy, blah blah blah, and it's made up of universe stuff. When you get to the end of a universe, right? Do you think that's the end?
What do you mean?
So you know, like
in space.
Like we're in a universe, and the theory was like our universe is expanding, and the theory sort of a while ago was it will expand, it will get to a point, and then it will come back on itself. So if you're looking at it from the Big Bang theory, like we exploded from a small pinprick, and then it expanded, everything was what it is now, and then it will get to a point and it will retract, a bit like in a balloon, like it will get to a point and then it will come back. Like, do you think like if we're obviously in our universe, do you think like that is it? Like, have you ever heard of a multiverse theory?
Yeah, I have. That's one of the questions that make my head like blow up.
Yeah,
like I'm really struggling to think about it because it's so out of our knowledge and our like possibility to think that something doesn't come with an end.
Well, this is because we kind of live in a world full of, like there's an end place. Like, for example, I'm sat on a chair. That chair's in a room. That room's in a house, in a flat. That flat's in a block of flats. That flat's in a street. That street's in a town. That town, is in a country, and then so on and so on, and then solar system, universe, blah blah blah. But at the end, it comes to a point where, in a basic point, if you've got a pair of shoes, it's in a box. Well, the shoes aren't the end. The box is the end, but then the box isn't the end. The room's the end, and then do you know what I mean? So if you look at,
my head's gonna explode.
Yeah, it becomes like, damn, like where does that end? But so the multiverse theory I find quite cool because obviously we're on a planet, and that planet's in a solar system. That solar system is made up of it. And anyway, you get to the end point, universe, right? The multiverse theory is that when you get to say let's put everything in a circle, and that makes up your universe. Your multiverse theory is that when you get to the end point, let's say that's a balloon, there's then space, like there is space between your planets, right? And then you'll get to an array of different multiverses, different universes, and that will make up the multiverse. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I like that theory.
So it's like, but then if you get to that theory, you're like, then when does that end? Where does that end? What are all these multiverses in?
Could it be our obsession of always wanted to know the answer.
Yeah, because it's crazy to think what isn't the answer. Like what, if I don't. So this is my alien theory, right? And I ask people this, right? Okay, say there was like an alien. Say there was an alien that came to Earth and just came to you because you've seen your Instagram. You think she looks like a nice girl, right? I'm gonna come to her, right? I'm gonna come to her and I'm gonna talk to her. I'm gonna sit her down, right? She's sitting down. You've got your mango tea, right? He sits you down. He goes, Evelina, I'm following you on Instagram, and I thought I'd come and have a chat with you, right? So he sat down with you. He's got this morphine thing where he looks like a normal man, but he goes, Evelina, guess what? I'm an alien, and you're shocked. About shocked as you are now, thinking.
Do I have to serve him tea?
He doesn't like tea, doesn't drink, doesn't eat, doesn't do none of that, right?
Okay.
So you're sitting down.
I'm following.
He's called Jeff because it's sort of like a name that's not going to startle you. You know what I mean? So you sat down with Jeff. He's a good-looking lad because he's got this suit on that makes him look like a human, right? And he says, Alina, I can take you with me, right? And I will tell you everything, right? I'll tell you everything. And what I mean by that is where it started, everything that's happened, and where it will end. All the answers you could ever think of, all the answers that all the scientists in the world thought of and will think of, will be answered to you, right? He'll tell you everything. It'll just be downloaded into you, right? Not far from now, because we'll probably have a chip in our head soon, right? So imagine like they're going to put a chip in your head and it's going to download everything. You can access everything. It will be there, right? But once you've got that information, you'll die within 24 hours, right? Would you take the information or would you leave it?
100% leave it.
Really?
Yeah, because isn't it one of the beauty of life not knowing everything? Because I feel like when you know everything, what is it left to live for?
Carry on, sorry.
No, it's just life is about expanding. For me, it's about expanding, it's about learning, it's about growing. And once we stop doing that,
but Jeff's going to tell you. Jeff's going to tell you all that learning, expanding, growing, isn't he? He's going to tell you all of it.
But what's the point then? Because I have 24 hours left.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You said you didn't want to know everything. Well, guess what? You're not going to know how to stay alive. Boom! You're gonna die a happy person. You're going to have your growth, your learning, your development. But don't worry, you'll still die not knowing how to do everything. Well, that's staying alive.
No, I would not do it because there is so much to see still. Like, even though he tells me everything, he can't take me to the Amazon and make it.
But you're going to be able to see it all. You can access everything in your head.
Yeah, but then I can just use Instagram and see it as well. But I want to be there, present, being there.
But they're saying like in a couple of years we'd go on holidays via VR anyway. So you're just ahead of everyone else. You know what I mean? Like you're just down the line.
24 hours.
Yeah, see, I'd take it. And I'd sit there, the most smug little fucker, right? And I would put, if this ever happens, just know that on my Instagram, I'll just put a really smug face on my stories. And if at that point I do that, you know that Jeff the Alien has come and given me this option and I've taken it. Right? Just know that's happened. That's what's gone down.
Can we just sneaky put one of those things in here now? Guys, if you would take it,
yeah, comment below. Would you? I want to know. Would you take it? Because I would take it. I would 100% take it.
On Jeff offer, or would you just live life?
Would you leave
not knowing?
If Jeff is out there, right? No, you can come and talk to me. I'm cool. I'm not going to offer you tea. Let's go. Let's get this done. I won't have a tattoo, but I'll take Jeff's knowledge.
Yeah, comment down below. We want to know.
Would you take it or not? Would you take Jeff's knowledge? Because to me, like, that is like super interesting. I'm definitely not smart enough to work it out myself, and Jeff's going to give it all to me. And the counteraction is maybe once I've got all that knowledge, I'm going to be able to find out how to last longer than 24 hours. And at that point, I'm going to leave a double story of two smug faces, and you know that Jeff gave me the info and I fucking survived. I'm going to do that right now. No, take it. But no, that would be my interest. I would do that. I'd do that. I would definitely take it.
What movie is that when they get all the knowledge and they blow up? Isn't it one of those
Unknown. Isn't it Unknown? They got a pill.
No, it is the Indiana Jones movie.
Indiana Jones?
Yeah, one of the last ones. Isn't it? When it stands in the circle of this alien stone figures and it's like...
Yeah, I kind of know. I kind of know the movie you're talking about, but I'm not up on the Indiana Jones series, I must admit.
No, neither am I. It just hit me right now. Should Google this.
Did I tell you that? I don't know if I ever told you. Did I tell you that I've seen a UFO?
No, you did not.
Have I never told you the UFO story?
No.
It was in Australia. Okay, sit back. You're about to have your mind fucking blown, right? Sit down.
Okay, take notes. Grab a tea, guys.
Grab a tea, but it's gonna be the next hour of your life. No, it's not that long. Basically, me and Martin were on our travel part of our holiday, right? So we'd been at Ayers Rock, came down to Ayers Rock, went to Adelaide. We were in Adelaide for literally a couple of days, and we made our way around. We got a rental car, made our way round to Port Lincoln, right? Now, Adelaide and Port Lincoln aren't that far if you go on a boat, but we went by car, right? So you have to drive back inland a bit and then come back down because it's sort of, like I say, the seas in between. So we went to Port Lincoln, went out on our shark dive, did our shark dive. And anyway, I hadn't booked anywhere for us to be in Port Lincoln. I just thought, look, we're going to sleep in the car, okay? So I thought we'll sleep in the car and then we'll make our way back. But anyway, when we finished the shark dive and that, we weren't really that tired at all. So we were like, let's just get a little bit of food. And I said to Martin, I was like, why don't we just like start driving back to Adelaide? And then if we get tired, we'll pull over at the side of the road and we'll have a sleep, right? So we're driving out of Port Lincoln. Now I can't express like how much how dark it is in the outback of Australia. Like especially if the moon's not on show at the time, it's really, really dark. Like because there's no lighting. Like if you're in a town here. So anyway, we're driving along. We probably were driving for about 5 hours. Okay, and all of a sudden, like everything was just really light. Like it was like the moon was out, but it wasn't out, right? So there was just like this really just noticed the difference in the light. So I'm like, what? And I said to Martin, I was like, what is that? And to the right of the car, like up in the sky, there was this really, 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 really intense white bright light just sitting there. Like it wasn't pulsating, it wasn't like flashing, it wasn't doing none of that. It was just sitting there, right? And we realized that the light was coming from that, right? And we were like, what is that? So I'm like saying to Martin, like, Martin, what is that? Like, can you see this? Am I tired here? Like, what's going on, right? He's like, no, I don't know. What is that? So we're like looking at this thing. It's there for a good couple of minutes and it's just sitting there. Like I say, it's not moving. It's not going nowhere. It's not doing nothing, right? And literally, all of a sudden, we're watching this thing and then it just literally just went. It just disappeared. It was gone. And then it was dark again. Like there was nothing. But it didn't shoot off. It didn't do nothing. It was just like gone. Right? So we're like, that doesn't make sense. What's that? So everything's back to dark. And it was really weird. And we're driving along. We didn't really think much of it. Okay? Driving along the next day. And it came on the radio that this same light had been seen up in Darwin. Now, Darwin is, a long, long way on a plane. It's about 3 hours from where we were on a plane to Darwin. But it was seen around the same sort of time as when me and Martin saw it down in Adelaide. So we were like, that's weird. They saw it at the same time. But anyway, look, I'm not saying it's ET, right? But what I'm saying is the army definitely got some crazy gear, I'm betting you. Because we don't know what it was to this day. But it made the radio. And even, in Australia, what they're like, yeah, there was this light seen in the sky. It was seen in multiple places. It could have been the army or it could have been UFOs. You know what Australia's like. They just make a joke of it. But there's got to be... If that wasn't, obviously I'm not saying that was ET, but I reckon we've probably got a lot better technology than we're letting on at the moment. Especially if they got it down in Australia. I'm telling you.
Interesting.
See, what would you have done if you had seen something like that? Would you have thought that's ET? Would you have thought that was Jeff? I can see you thinking, Jeff.
I would probably have to ask him, like, park the car and be like, Jeff, yo, what are you doing?
Jeff, what's going on? So that was my weird unidentified flying object. But it wasn't really flying. It doesn't make sense. It was just sitting there. And no, it was not the moon. It was much, much smaller than the moon.
What colour was the light?
It was like a really, really white, bright light. But it wasn't flickering. It wasn't pulsating. It wasn't doing none of that. It was just there. Right.
And for people who doesn't know much about Australia, like Darwin is like at the top.
It's a long way away.
Adelaide is at the bottom.
We're calling Martin, right? And he's going to verify my story.
Oh dear, we're getting Martin on board, guys.
Martin's coming. 1 minute. Here we go. He's not going to answer now. But like, what do you want?
Is he awake at this time?
Morning, Martin.
Hey, how's it going?
Not bad. Evelina, say hello to mine.
Good morning, Martin.
Hello.
Right, so we're currently on the podcast and we've got our coffee chat going on. So we're just exploring the ideas of space and things like that at the moment, Martin. And I was telling Evelina about the situation we had in driving back from Port Lincoln to Adelaide.
Oh yeah.
And
UFO thing.
yeah. So I was telling her about it, and I just wanted to get you on to validate that this happened to us.
Yeah, it totally did.
What do you remember?
Very convincing, did it?
No, what do you remember? I want to see if our stories tally up like this long after.
Yeah, well,
over time.
we were just driving along in the car. I was looking out the window on the other side, just completely being oblivious, and there was like this massive flash of light, and you saw it better than I did because I was on the other side. It was on your side sort of thing, and this thing just like lit up and shot off. Like.
See, I don't remember it shooting off. I remember it being there, and we were looking at it.
Yeah, it was just like in the sky. I think like we weren't really paying too much attention because it was just like looked like I think you just thought it was the moon or something, but it was just one of those things where you weren't really looking at it, and then until it like flashed. But when it flashed, it literally almost turned the sky to like daylight blue sort of thing, like.
So I think we've got slight. This is the thing. I think we're slightly different on it. I remember it being more like we were looking at it and thinking, "What the fuck was that?" And then it literally just disappeared.
We were looking at it, thinking, "What was that?" I was looking at the other side.
That.
It was only when it flashed that we were like, "Oh."
So the problem is, it might not be Jeff, is what we're saying. Martin, Jeff is an alien that's coming down and giving us all the knowledge, but it might not be. It might not be Jeff, Evelina.
Okay. We got the story confirmed. Slightly changed.
This is what I mean.
Still, it happened.
It was 6 years ago.
It was like what? How many years ago? Though?
7
6
years
years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
7 years ago.
Well, look, this is the point. There's always something to explore, and people remember things differently. Jeff, unfortunately, is not visiting me right now. That's all I'm saying.
It was on the radio, though, wasn't it?
Huh?
It was on the radio about it, though.
It was on the radio, yeah.
The next day, it was on the radio in Australia. And I think it was
up in Darwin, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was either the police or the government said their official thing was it could be a meteor or it could have been aliens, we don't know.
Yeah, see, I remember him saying army or joking around being, it could be aliens.
Yeah, you're right, literally, meteor or aliens, we don't know.
Well, there we go. Martin is still alive, survived Jeff. Martin, we're going to let you go. What are you doing?
I'm playing Avengers, clearly.
Okay, right. We'll leave you to play Avengers. Go save the world, Martin.
I will do, man.
Bye. So the stories are definitely slightly remembered differently. But it was just a weird scenario. Maybe it was just someone playing with a lantern.
A very big one.
In the middle of nowhere, but playing with a lantern. Could have been a lantern. Could have been anything. But I still think that, joking aside, not being a UFO, I reckon it would be cool to know what our technology was for like our special services and army and stuff.
Mm.
Do you ever watch anything to do with like Bob Lazar and that?
No clue who that is.
So he's a guy that worked in Area 51, and he basically says like they've got craft of like another planet. But that's a really like fun little route to go down. Again, even if you're not like into that, like I watch it all with an open like perspective. It's just fun to like look and, let's say, pontificate about. However, I'm gonna not hit you with any more space stuff for today. But what I do want to say is, as a side note, did you know that on Instagram some people are like editing? I know that you edit like filters and stuff. I didn't realise that some people are editing the shape of their bodies on Instagram. Like you can get apps for it now.
Of course, that wouldn't surprise me. Like you have Photoshop. You've been doing that for years.
Yeah, but like it's simple on your phone now. Like I didn't realise. Like I was talking to someone and they told me that, oh yeah, look at this picture, and they were like just tucking in their hips, tucking in their face.
Mm.
I was like,
I saw one of those pictures. It was hilarious because she was standing in a door frame, and I think she did on purpose, just because she wanted to get loads of attention and she wanted the photo to blow up, which she did. So she was standing in a door frame and she was looking absolutely banging in like her underwear. If you look at the door frame, for some reason it was really wide at one spot, then really narrow at one spot, and then really wide again. Like in a door frame, you can easily see if the picture has been editing, because it just sucks in the picture or expands it at certain parts. But she blew off from that.
See, so. I didn't know people were doing this. I didn't know.
Of course.
And what worries me is you're getting people who are very, very good looking and in shape anyway doing this, and therefore people are watching those people thinking, oh, I want to be a bit more like them, I want to be maybe a bit more in shape, or I want to have that bit more style, and they're watching people who are in great shape anyway, who are then further editing their photos to make them look even more unattainable, which is crazy. No?
Yeah, but it tells a lot about the person who's editing their picture. It says a lot about them. Like, there are some serious self-esteem points that needs to be improved. And like, you can either look at those kind of pictures and think, oh, I want to look like that. Even though it's edited, you might be longing for that kind of look, and you might be putting yourself down from looking at it. Or you can look at it, see it's edited, and be like, I really hope you're working on yourself, because that's what you need to be doing.
It just worries me, because I just think like everything becomes like, even you're really, really like what you'd class, like some people might class as good looking people, are editing stuff to make it even more unattainable, and even to get to their point where they're in the shape they are anyway is like unattainable for most people running a normal general life. And then you'll then make it, I don't know, man, it worries me just to think like that's not going to help people.
But that's the media industry, or like the model industry. It's been doing that for years. It's just more in our hands now.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think of that. Yeah, it's basically like what you could have seen in the magazines all the time. People can do to themselves all the time now, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. So it's more available to us. It's not new. It's just more available to us. But I feel like people are more working on themselves these days. I feel like there's a big change in the whole movement of just self-development. And the more we work in ourselves, the easier we will be handling the situations, because they will never go away. They will never go away, because human beings love pretty things. We love the beauty, the visual beauty. So they will never go away. The media will use it, Instagram influencers will use it, models will use it, and I don't know, artists will use it to attract people on a visual level. We just need to become more secured and grounded in ourselves to be able to handle it, and should be fine.
Oh, I didn't know that those apps were so easy to get. So what I'd probably say is just, guys, don't judge yourself against others too much.
100%. And we just need to do practice on our self-esteem muscles as much as we pumping those muscles at the gym, don't we?
This is true. However, this is going to wrap up our first episode of Coffee Talk. We're going to Coffee Talk? What are we calling it? Coffee Talk?
I'm not sure what to call it, because we both drink tea, but I had coffee before I had tea.
Well, look, guys, let us know what you sort of think of this sort of format. We are sort of, like I say, fumbling through things, working things out. We do want to bring you sort of more light-hearted, joking around stuff like this one. So let us know what you think. Leave us a comment. If you want more stuff like this, then obviously we're going to bring you what you want. But you can always find us on a Monday morning, as long as editing problems don't happen, on YouTube with our latest podcast. You can also find us on our social medias.
20 into 30 podcasts on Instagram, Facebook, and of course, YouTube.
Awesome. You can also find us on our private places. You've got Health by Evelina for Evelina, and you've got Luke Bradley on Instagram for myself. But anyway, guys, until next week, have a great rest of the week, and we will see you soon.